النفس المطمئنة ارجعي إلى ربك راضية. O you soul, O you tranquil soul, return to your Lord. The lessons in your personal life, the lessons from history, the lessons of love, all in Karbala. But some ulama presented a little bit, right? What about Karbala? Please recite a salawat. You see, this outer world, in this everything that is occurring in this outer reflection happening on the inside is a all this pain that we see in the world today has made. Decisions that mankind made. Where decisions come from? They started in the souls of certain people. As we're born, they came implemented, and now today. You see, Allah had a decision to make. Everyone in Karbala had time in which they needed to decide something for themselves. There were those who sent letters to and met on the who said, "You Hussein, I don't want to fight with you, but of course you can have this horse and make." There were those ashqiya, or Ibn Sa'd, Hussein crying, they die. But they were still firing the Hussein. There was property and said, "Let me live my last." There was and said, "Your sons, my sons are for this day. Go, Bona." Said, "Not just my children. I'm going to give." This tragedy had those people had already, right? Ibn Sa'd wasn't commanding them anymore, it was their own jahl. Each that personality attention. That person exists with you and I. Abbas, he exists within you. Life when the world has turned somebody who needs something, yourself on the line. Mr. Abbas within you. Ray, you have lost your hair. Man, you've become an old. Despite that, that spirit of Zainab is inside of you. Umar ibn Sa'd also lives inside you, brothers. Anything else aside, when you say that, you might be crying, you might be weeping, you might know it is wrong, but you still do it. And so when we evoke la'an on the killers of Hussein, then we are also sent on that part of us that is Umar ibn Sa'd. We are sending la'an on us that if we had of dunya, we would have gone for it too. on soul. That part of us would have been sitting on liman liman. We're saying that we are at peace. Who Hussein is at peace. What we are doing is we are pushing our soul in a certain direction. I part of my soul, Allah, nothing to stop for power. That will do nothing for fame until it has oppress other people. For us, it is not just to send la'an on those people who lived 40 years ago, send la'an on those tendencies within ourselves. If they are not checked, we are also Umar ibn Sa'd. We are Hurmala. We have that arrogance potentially. We are Shimr. Right? All aspects exist within you. We take our steps to work on ourselves, brothers and sisters. That is the direction we're going in, rejuvenation. Each and every day when we work on ourselves, we become closer to Hussein and the family of Hussein. When we become Hussein and the family of Hussein, closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Why? Because Hussein and the family of the Saint are the path to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you follow them, if you love them, if they are dear and near to your heart, they will take you to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you distance yourself from them, if you distance yourself from them, you are lost. There is no way for you. You are trying to find one way. Please recite salawat. And so tonight, as we continue to remember Hussein, these companions of Hussein, we the right of Muhammad wa Muhammad, that not let this emotion, let these tears be a vessel for us to reach you, to reform ourselves closer to Hussein, to the family of Hussein. Sallallahu alayka ya Aba Abdillah. Sallallahu alayka ya Aba Abdillah. على الأرواح التي حلت في نارك عليك مني سلام الله لما بقيت وبقي الليل لا جعله الله العهد مني لزيارتكم على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين على أصحاب الحسين يا أبا عبد الله صلى الله عليك يا أبا عبد الله روحي وأرواح العالمين لك الفداء يا ليتنا كنا معكم سيدي عظيما. would like everyone to try to, whatever is happening in their lives, whatever is going on, take tonight, take tomorrow night to close, to put our head, to remember the musibah of this little infant child saying, who stayed thirsty for 3 nights. The end of the 9th of Muharram, and I'd like my younger brothers and sisters to pay attention because the details of the story are also important. The night of the 9th of Muharram, Umar ibn Sa'ad, la'natullah alayhim, sends a small group of soldiers to the camp of saying that, Hussein, you either surrender to us or we are going to fight. Now at this point, at the very time as the sun is beginning, like it is today, on the 9th of Muharram, Hussein finds out that these soldiers are to come to his camp. So he tells Abbas, "Oh Abbas, go." Hussein reads the letter. Hussein says, "Oh Abbas, go back and tell these men that Hussein wants one more night from you." Why? Because Hussein is in love with his Lord and he wants to worship his Lord. He wants to spend this. Umar Sa'ad gets the response of Hussein and he says, okay. Some say the secret of Hussein is that he didn't fight on the 9th of. If he fought on the 9th of Hurrah, then Hur would not have become Hur. Then the son of Hur would never have become the son of Hur, the father. That slave of Hur would never have become a follower of Hussein. When this was settled, the Ashab and Ansar of Hussein came together to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the camp. As the night fell, the Ashab and Ansar get together in the camps. Hussein gives a long khutbah in which he tells his companions. He says, "Oh companions, I have nobody better than you. There are no companions better than you. May Allah reward you abundantly for what you have done." Hussein begins telling them what is going to happen on that next day. He tells these little boys that if you go into this battlefield, your body is going to be run over. He says that if you want to go to this Maidan, just realize that you will be saying Khudafiz to your father for the final time. You will be saying Khudafiz to your mother for the final time. After glorifying his companions, Imam began discussing what would happen the next day. He said, "My people, my companions, these people who have gathered against us, they want me. They don't want you. You are my ashab, you are my aqraba, you are my family. They are thirsty for my blood. Therefore you can go. You can go, I permit you to leave." Hussein sees that not a single person has stood up and left. When nobody leaves, then Hussein begins telling them one by one, "Abbas, you can go. Akbar, you can go. Zuhair, you can go. Habib, you can go. Muslim, you can go." Worried about the day of judgment, but I am Hussein of Rasul. I promise you, Rasulullah will still judgment. I guarantee you, Rasulullah will not complain with you. The lights in the tent. He sits silent for some time, and when he puts these lights back on, he sees that Habib's head is lowered, sitting there crying. He sees Abul Fazl al-Abbas is crying. Zuhair stands up and says, "Oh Hussein, if we go to the battlefield and we are killed 1,000 times and brought back to life 1,000 times, we will never leave you, Hussein." They all began praying to Allah. You see from the companions of Hussein that worship was constant. When you could listen to the camp of Hussein, you could hear tilawat al-Quran, you could hear tahajjud, you could hear tasbih, you could hear salat, like the buzzing of a bee. But that was the side of the camp of Hussein. On the other side of the camp of Hussein, there are little babies, there are little children running around saying al-Atash. These children are in a train, they're running looking for some water. These children of Zahra haven't had anything to drink for 3 days. As the Ashab and Ansar settle in, Hussein begins going around the tents. He goes to each tent to see what's happening in that tent. He goes to the tent of Farwa. He says Farwa is talking to Farwa is telling Qasim, oh Qasim, tomorrow don't hold yourself back. Bravery of Hassan in battle tomorrow. He goes to the tent of Zainab. He sees Zainab saying, Onin Muhammad, you are the children of Ja'far al-Tayyar, you are the grandchildren of Amir al-Mu'mineen Abi Talib. When you go into the battlefield, don't hold yourself back. In each tent, he goes into that tent and he sees the mother of that child is encouraging that child. But there's one more tent Hussein has to go to. He goes to the tent of Rubab. He sees Rubab is holding a little baby. Rubab is rocking this baby back and forth. Rubab is crying. She's talking to her baby Asghar. She's whispering a lullaby to Asghar. She's saying, Asghar, Kash, you were a little bit older. You could have gone to Shaan tomorrow and represented me. You'll say, Rabab, wait until tomorrow, Rabab. The sacrifice of Asghar is not going to be less than these other boys. The sun comes up the next day. The Ashab and the family members of Hussein start going into battle. One by one, these companions are falling. One by one, these family members, these Aqraba, these Ashab are passing away. Hussein goes into the tents to check on his Ashab. He goes into the tent of Zuhair. He sees that tent is empty. He goes into the tent of Abbas. He sees Abbas is not there. When all the tents are empty, Hussein goes into the battlefield. He stands under the sun. He says, Hal min nasirin yansuruna? Is there anybody in this desert who can help us? Nobody replies to Hussein. Hussein says, Hal min mughithin yughithuna? Is there anyone who can come to our aid? He says, Hal min dabbatin yadubban harami Rasulillah? If there is nobody who can come to our aid, then is there anyone who can protect these women of the Prophet? Nobody answers Hussein's call. Hussein goes to the women's tents. He hears the women wailing. He says, oh women of Rasulullah, why are you crying? They say, Agha, Maula, when you were saying, Hal min nasirin yansuruna, this baby Asghar, he was turning from side to side. And says, give this baby to me, let me take this baby to the enemy. Maybe they will have mercy on this little baby. Maybe they will give him some water. When Rabab hears Hussein is going to take Asghar into the battlefield, she wraps him into a little swaddle cloth. She says, Agha Maula, take my baby, find some water for him. The enemies see Hussein come out of the tent. They see Hussein has something wrapped. Abba, they say maybe Hussein has brought this Holy Quran. Back in the tent, Rubab is watching this happen. There were two mothers in Karbala who, when their son went to the Maidan, they stood outside of the tent watching their son. One of them was Farwa, who watched her son Qasim be run over while he was still alive. The other one was Rubab, who watched her Asghar being held. The difference was this: when Farwa sent her son, that he wasn't coming back to her. When Rubab sent her baby, she thought, this baby is coming back to me. Hussein takes Asghar. He holds him up in the sky. He says, oh people, you have killed Abbas. You have killed all of my children. There is nobody left except this baby.
This grandson of Rasulullah has been thirsty for 3 days. Can you not spare this baby some water? Oh enemies, your problem is with me. Your fight is with me. We are the ones who committed wrong in your eyes. But I ask you, by Allah, what has this baby done to you? What has this baby done to you? Hussein sees there's no response from these enemies. Hussein calls out, "O enemies of Allah, is there not anyone who is sahib-e-aulad amongst you? Is there not any father amongst you? Is there no one that has a child amongst you that can show mercy to this baby?" The Ashqiya hear the words of Hussein. The Ashqiya themselves begin to cry. Asghar begins to open his mouth. He begins to parse his tongue from right to left. The Ashqiya turn their faces. They can't watch Asghar doing this. Some of them turn to Umar ibn Sa'd. They say, "Umar ibn Sa'd, we can't watch this. Umar ibn Sa'd, if you don't give this baby some water, another battle will start right now." Umar ibn Sa'd begins to panic. He calls Hormola. He says, "Hormola, we have to end this right now." Hormola comes forward. Hormola takes one look at the baby. Hormola takes out an arrow. It was a 3-pronged arrow. It wasn't a normal arrow, my brothers. This arrow is used not for people. This arrow is used to kill camels in the desert from a distance. Hormola looks at Asghar's neck. He pulls back his hand. Suddenly Hormola's hand begins to shake. Umar ibn Sa'd says, "Hormola, you are a warrior. Why are you shaking?" Hormola says, "Umar ibn Sa'd, you don't see what I see. Come here and look from my vantage point. The mother of Asghar is watching me." Hormola takes aim at the throat of the baby. He shoots his arrow through the air. That arrow goes over towards Hussein. When that arrow reaches the throat of Asghar, Asghar screams and wheels and turns around. It rips through the throat of Asghar. When Asghar feels this arrow go through his neck, he puts his arms around Hussein. He puts those little arms around Hussein. Now Hussein puts the baby back in his arms. He covers him with his abba. He says, "How will I take this baby back to his mother?" He begins walking back to the tent. He says, "Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Ridan biqada'ihi wa tasliman li amrih. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Ridan biqada'ihi wa tasliman bi amrih." As Hussein is walking towards this camp, he sees a Rabab. He begins walking backwards. He says, "Inna lillah wa inna ilayhi raji'un." How can Hussein take this baby to Rabab? 7 times Hussein says, "Inna lillah wa inna ilayhi raji'un." Finally Hussein gets to the tent. Finally he gets to Rabab. He says, "Zainab, hold on to Rabab. Zainab, Rabab cannot handle this. Hold on to Rabab." Zainab pulls back Rabab. But when Rabab sees her baby, she says, "Ya bunayya, amithluka yunal." "Oh my son, our little baby is like you, killed like camels." Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un wa sayalamu alladhina zalamu ayya munqalibin yanqalibun. Matam hai Hussein.
لبيك يا حسين 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 أنت في قلب رسول الله يا حسين يا علي أسكار أنت في قلب رسول الله يا حسين يا حسين يا علي أسكار together أنت في قلب رسول الله يا حسين يا أنت في قلب رسول الله يا حسين يا حسين يا Let the tears flow from your eyes when we think of their demise. Prophet's family is left at the desert plain to die. Let the tears flow from your eyes when we think of their demise. Prophet's family is left at the desert plain to die. It's an absolute despicable, ungodly, cursed crime, but the land of Karbala is blessed forever time. Anta fi qalb Rasulullah Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Ali Asghar. Anta في قلب رسول الله يا حسين Again أنت في قلب رسول الله يا حسين يا حسين يا The heart of the Prophet is beloved Al-Hussein. Every Muslim everywhere, they know this blessed name. Prophet clearly stated, don't cause my family pain. Heart of the Prophet is beloved Al-Hussein. Every Muslim everywhere, they've heard this blessed name. The Prophet clearly stated, never cause my family pain. But look, they're shooting arrows at beloved Imam Hussein. Anta fi qalb Rasulullah Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Ali. MashaAllah. أنت في قلب رسول الله يا حسين يا حسين You see the tiny fingers and these blessed little toes. His eyes are from Ali. He has the Prophet's nose. But his face becomes a stress when he hears his sister cry. Atash al-Atash, that is his lullaby. Anta fi qalb Rasulullah Ya Hussein Again, Anta fi qalb Rasulullah Ya Hussein Ya Hussein To show the Prophet respect, they put an arrow in the neck of a 6-month baby boy. He just wanted a breath. To show our Prophet respect, they shot an arrow to the neck of a 6-month baby boy. All he wanted was a breath. The heart of Hussein, Ya Ali Asghar. This is the heart of the Prophet, Yabna Zahra. Anta fi qalb Rasulullah Hussein, Ya Hussein Again, Anta fi qalb Rasulullah Hussein Ya Hussein We learn of Prophet Abraham, he sacrificed his son, but the patient Ismail was replaced before it's done. Now look to Al-Hussein, he has a scar to his head. Raised up to the sky, they shoot the arrows till he's dead. We learn of Prophet Abraham, he sacrificed his son. Patient Ismail, replaced before it's done. Now look to Al-Hussein, he has a scar onto his head. Raised up to the sky, they shot the arrows till he's dead. Anta fi qalb Rasul Ya Hussein Together Anta fi qalb Rasulullah Ya Hussein Ya Hussein Beloved Nabi Abraham never ever felt this pain. Beloved Nabi Abraham, he cries out for Hussein. Beloved Nabi Abraham never felt this pain. But beloved Nabi Abraham, he cries out, Ya Hussein. La ilaha illallah Muhammadar Rasulullah. Ya Ali Waliullah. Ya Hassan al-Mujtaba. Ya Hussein Shahidullah. Ya Hussein Habibullah. Ya Hussein Aruhullah. Ya Hussein Khalilullah. Anta fi qalb Rasulullah. Together, Ya Hussein, Ya Ali Akbar. Anta fi qalb Rasulullah. Together, Ya Hussein, Ya Ali Akbar. Let the tears flow from your eyes when we think of their demise. Prophet's family is left at the desert plain to die. It's an absolute despicable, ungodly, cursed crime, but the land of Karbala is blessed forever time. Let the tears flow, let the tears flow, let the tears flow. Together. Labbaika ya Hussein! Labbaika ya Hussein! Labbaika ya Hussein! Labbaika ya Hussein! Mawla Hussein! Mawla Hussein! Hussein Jonam! Hussein Jonam! Mawla Hussein! Mawla Hussein! أنت في قلبي يا رسول الله يا حسين يا علي أصغر أنت في قلبي يا رسول الله يا حسين يا علي together أنت في قلبي يا رسول الله يا حسين يا حسين يا علي أصغر لبيك يا حسين لبيك يا حسين لبيك يا حسين لبيك يا حسين مولا حسين مولا حسين لبيك يا حسين مولا حسين مولا حسين يا حسين يا حسين صلوات محمد وآل محمد
Hussein or Abbas, Hussein or Abbas, Hussein or Abbas, Hussein or Abbas, Hussein Hussein Hussein, Hussein. From the ink that flows in my pen to blood that flows in Karbala, let these words rest within your mind. As to you I paint a picture. This land with bodies is ridden and steps upon this sand Jabed. Yet his eye searches for but one. Is it Hussein or his brother Hussein? Or Abbas, Hussein, Hussein, Hussein. Words that reside inside my soul, and each word wants two things different. How can I love intertwined flames, yet their own bodies lie separate between the Safa and Marwa, enchained in a painful moment. Hussein calls for him whilst Abbas cries for the women in the tents. Both voices break apart, his mind one lies left by yours is trampled, the other's voice never ending. Forgive me, master, I failed. Hussein or Abbas, Hussein, Hussein, Hussein. When Jabir asks Hussein's body, he answers, go to my brother. When Jabir turns to the river, Abbas says, bring Hussein water. I ask both Safa and Marwa, never will you leave each other. So why do Hussein and Abbas both scream farewell, oh my brother? Hussein or Abbas, Hussein or Abbas. Oh Jabir, no, I am Abbas and I am of Ali's descent. They are the sons of Muhammad, and to protect them I had meant. Yet tell Hussein I have failed, and place on my mind this event. Women between horses running for this future nation's lament. Oh future people, forgive me, I gave both my hands and my eye. I swear if my Lord allowed me from my murder, I would arise. Hussein or Abbas, Hussein or Abbas. Oh Jabir, no, I am Hussein. Does Abbas in regret reside when my back's broken after him and my soul has died with his flight? He never once called me brother. Letters of his name I'd recite. Not once did he look in my eye. When Jabir I longed for his sight. And yet still even with his death my brother is ashamed near me. Jabir, tell all those who visit Abbas before me. Hussein or Abbas, Hussein or Abbas, Hussein or Abbas, Hussein or Abbas. From the ink that flows in my pen to land with bodies ridden, Hussein, tell Jabir, forget us. Turn your eye toward our women. Watch as they scream out both our names as we lie on the ground fallen, as they run from tent toward tent, as run between horses orphans. Watch Zainab upon my body, she calls out, oh my Lord, accept, and my daughters run to Abbas, oh Abbas, your women protect. Hussein or Abbas, 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 Hussein or Abbas. Hussein or Abbas. Or Abbas. No. Or Abbas. Hussein. 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 محمد وعلى محمد اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
Assalamu alaikum everyone. This next nauha is going to be read in a bit of a faster tone. So just pay mind to Jafar to my right for the beat of the matam. The jawab is really simple. It's just the phrase al-wida, which means farewell. So during the jawab, I want you guys to say al-wida with us. This nauha was written by one of our late scholars, Shaheed Ayatollah Wa'iz, and he writes of the moments when Sayyid al-Shuhada has no companions left with him, and he gives his farewells. He instructs his sister, Sayyida Zainab, to gather the children and keep them safe when he falls in battle for the ensuing chaos. And he asks the daughters of the Prophet repeatedly to forgive him, because he must leave them at this moment. He speaks to his dear daughter, Hazrat Sakina, and he calls her the flower of his garden. And he asks that she does not cry, because when he sees her tears, it becomes difficult for him to depart. So please join all of us in saying farewell with Sayyid al-Shuhada. Okay. Al-Wida, 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 Al-Wida. الوداع دختران پیامبر حلالم کنید قطع امید خود از وصالم کنید آخرین یک نظر بر جمالم کنید الوداع ای سکینه گل باغ من گریه کم کن که بس تازه شد داغ من گریه کم کن که بس تازه شد داغ من الوداع 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 من که سر در رضای خدا دادم، قتل اولاد خود را رضا دادم، بهر این امت پرگناه دادم. الوداع ای سکینه گل باغ من، گریه کم کن که بس تازه شد داغ من، گریه کم کن که بس تازه شد داغ من. الوداع 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 الوداع. میروم سوی میدان غریب و بعید، میشوم از جفا این زمان من شهید. رخت و ماتم ببر در عزایم کنید، الوداع ای سکینه گل باغ من، گریه کم کن که بس تازه شد داغ من، گریه کم کن که بس تازه شد داغ من. الوداع الوداع. زینبا بهر من یار و یاور تویی، اهل و بیت غریب مرا سر تویی. الوداع ای سکینه گل باغ من، گریه کم کن که بس تازه شد داغ من، گریه کم کن که بس تازه شد داغ من. الوداع 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 الوداع. چون ببینی سرم را به نوک سنان، جمع کن کودکان مرا آن زمان. سوی میدان میا دست و بر سر زنان، سوی میدان میا دست و بر سر زنان. الوداع ای سکینه گل باغ من، گریه کم کن که بس تازه شد داغ من، گریه کم کن که بس تازه شد داغ من. الوداع الوداع. دختران پیامبر حلالم کنید، خط امید خود از وصالم کنید، آخرین یک نظر بر جمالم کنید. الوداع ای سکینه گل باغ من، گریه کم کن که بس تازه شد داغ من، گریه کم کن که بس تازه شد داغ من، گریه کم کن که بس تازه شد داغ من، گریه کم کن که بس تازه شد داغ من. الوداع 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 الوداع. الوداع 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 الوداع.
Thank you for all those presentations. And so, inshallah, we'll go towards Maghrib prayer after Adhan. Just a couple of things. Tomorrow, inshallah, just once again a reminder, 12 p.m. for the Amal, and followed by Dhuhr prayers and the Majlis. It'll be at Royal Banquet and Event Center in Springfield. I was requested to have you guys, if possible, try to carpool because parking is limited. And one last thing, there's a sister who left a watch and a ring in the bathroom. Sister Khurshid Auntie does have the items. After a loud salawat, please advance and get the tabarruk. Salawat.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. الله أكبر.